I love Hamburger Helper, but I hate meat. Yuck, disgusting. Ugh, who can stand that stuff? So, I've come up with a method for making Hamburger Helper without the hamburger, and it's really good. Here's how I do it. From left to right is my most favorite to my least favorite flavor. The gaps are because there's a flavor in there in that position that I've had before, but I can't find it anymore. And this one's the last. To make Hamburger Helper without the hamburger, you need these items. Some are kind of obvious. First, you need a saucepan, or any pan that's big enough. You need a measuring cup to measure the liquids that are necessary. You need a plate, a big spoon for safety stirring, and a small spoon for eating with, or however your preferences are. And obviously, none other than Hamburger Helper itself. This is my favorite one. I'm going to have it. To make the Hamburger Helper without the hamburger, you pretty much follow the directions on the box, although there are a few changes that are needed. The first thing is, well, instead of using a skillet, you use the saucepan, as I'm doing. The amounts of liquids that you use also need to change because you don't have the meat. Get rid of it. So that's less stuff you need to cover, and thus you don't need anywhere near as much liquid. So there's a multiplier on that, and there are 4 general options that I would suggest the most. In order from the lowest to the highest, you have 5/9, 7/12, 5/8, and 2/3. So, basically, what is that multiplier all about? And you might also be wondering, why 2 boxes? Well, the reason behind 2 boxes is actually pretty simple. 1 box just ain't filling enough. I need a second one to make it more filling. And boy is it filling. And yes, I can eat the whole thing in one go. The first step I do is, although it says water and milk here are needed, I always do the milk first. And it says 1 2/3 cups milk. That's with the meat. The multiplier is what you use to offset from that. And since I got 2 boxes, obviously it's a times 2, so that would be 3 1/3. And from that, I just multiply by one of the multipliers. So in this case, I have 10, 3, 7, 12. Got that? 70, 36. Yeah, I can do that pretty fast. So that's slightly less than 2 cups. So, first thing I do, I pour in the milk, slightly less than 2 cups. It doesn't have to be exact, you can vary it by a fair bit. Cooking isn't exactly an exact science. I would say that should be good enough. The next step is the water. Obviously I want to put the milk back in the fridge, so in the fridge it goes. According to this, it says 1 1/3 cups hot water. It is not necessary to use hot water. I've used cold water straight from the tap. So 1 1/3 cups times 2 because I have 2 boxes, that's 2 2/3. 8, 3, 7, 12. 56, 36. A little more than 1 1/2. So I need 1 1/2 cups water. I'll fill it about a little more than 3/4 in this case. Notice how it's kind of milky? That's why I do the milk first. It gets the most of the milk possible. This should be close enough. As usual, it's not an exacting science. And this is the 1 cup. I don't know if you can see that, but it says 1 cup on it. Yeah, I just put my math skills to great use. This I now no longer need, so In the sink it goes. The next step is opening the box, although you could do this one before you even start. Although it's best to make sure you got enough supplies before you even start. Last thing you want to do is be out of supplies and you can't do it. Now, which one you open first and which one you open second doesn't really matter too much. I usually like putting the noodles in first. These bags are easy to open. Pour that in. These will go in recycle, although it's there temporarily. This is the sauce mix. Do include that in. These bags can be a little trickier, but with good skill you can get them to open without the need of a knife. If you need to, feel free to use a knife. Some of the sauce bags are a real pain. Although this one does have a convenient notch already made, it is not really a necessity if you have good skill. It helps, however. Doesn't that look tasty? It will be when it's actually put to main use. So at this point, turn the stove on, initially at high, and begin to stir. You may not go all the way into the water all the way, but that's okay, that's actually expected. But try to stir it up as best as you can. Why high at the moment? Well, that's just to get it started. Early on, it really doesn't make too much of a difference. There really ain't too much liquid in here, however. One important thing to note is, because this is effectively a sauce, you have to stir frequently. Otherwise, it's going to stick to the bottom. I would say keep it on high for at least 30 seconds, to up to about a minute. That's just to at least get it started, but of course I have an electric stove, which means it's going to take a little longer to get it started. So in that case, you can go a little bit longer. And the key thing is, stir frequently. That is not a joke. Stir frequently. By the way, if you could see this color here, and it's actually glowing, that means it's reached to about 800 kelvins, if I remember. Or, no, 800 Fahrenheit. That's black body radiation, in case you're wondering. From there, it fades from red to orange and so forth, but I think I need to turn the heat down a little bit. In this case, I have it about 80%. A little bit more than 80%. Notice how it's fading away. I'm going to put the spoon on here so I can readjust the camera, because I don't think it looks right. Actually, I guess it is. You can clearly see it. Okay, never mind that then. And while I'm waiting for that to go at its thing, I'm crushing the box down so it takes up less space. Okay, one box crushed, stir. At first it might be a little difficult to stir, but it gets easier and easier as the noodles heat up and get more, well, flexible. And I'm going to use this box now and crush this one. Keep stirring it about every 30 seconds at the maximum, preferably every 20 seconds. But right now you can go with 30 to 40, which is roughly almost about the time it takes me to crush this box. I do this extra folding stuff to make it extra flat.